The German Tiger, engineering masterpiece or catastrophic waste of resources, it crushed everything in front of it. Allied tank crews feared it. Entire squadrons of Shermans would break formation the moment someone radioed the word Tiger. For decades, it has lived in history books, video games, and documentaries as the ultimate symbol of German engineering superiority. But here's the question nobody asks loudly enough. Did the Tiger actually win Germany the war, or did it quietly help lose it? Today we're tearing apart the myth, the armor, the gun, the glory, and the catastrophic, almost absurd logistical nightmare that turned one of history's most fearsome tanks into one of history's most expensive mistakes. Part 1. The Beast on Paper. To understand the Tiger's legend, you first have to understand just how terrifying it was on the battlefield. The Tiger won. Officially, the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Ausf. E entered combat in 1942 on the Eastern Front. It weighed 57 tons, which was extraordinary for its era. Its armor was up to 120 millimeters thick at the front, enough to shrug off virtually any Allied anti-tank round at standard combat ranges. Its 88 millimeter gun, derived from Germany's legendary anti-aircraft cannon, could punch through the armor of a Soviet T-34 or an American Sherman at ranges exceeding 2,000 meters. In practical terms, a Tiger could kill its enemies before they even came close enough to threaten it. The numbers from individual engagements are staggering. SS officer Michael Wittmann, the most celebrated Tiger commander of the war, is credited with destroying over 138 tanks and 132 anti-tank guns. At Villers-Bocage in Normandy in June 1944, a single Tiger company halted an entire British armored column. Allied tank crews were ordered to avoid Tiger engagements unless they had overwhelming numerical advantage, ideally 5-1. By every individual performance metric, the Tiger was a masterpiece, fast to aim, lethal at range, nearly impenetrable from the front. On a 1-to-1 basis, it had no equal. But war is never 1-to-1, and that is exactly where the Tiger's story starts to fall apart. Part 2. The factory floor, where the myth begins to crack. While Germany was pouring its finest engineers and most precious materials into each Tiger, the Soviet Union was doing something very different across the Ural Mountains. The T-34 production line ran 24 hours a day. Workers, many of them women and teenagers, their husbands and fathers already at the front, built tanks in factories so cold that oil froze on the assembly floor. A T-34 took roughly 3,000 man-hours to produce. A Tiger took approximately 300,000. Read that again. One Tiger required the same manufacturing effort as 100 T-34s. Germany produced 1,347 Tiger I tanks across the entire war. The Soviet Union produced over 57,000 T-34s. The United States produced nearly 50,000 Sherman tanks. The math isn't complicated, it's devastating. Every Tiger that broke down, got stuck in the mud, or was abandoned due to a mechanical failure represented an irreplaceable loss. Every T-34 that burned could be replaced within days. Albert Speer, Hitler's own armaments minister, repeatedly warned that Germany's tank strategy was suicidal. The Tiger was consuming aluminum, high-grade steel, precision components, and skilled labor that the entire German war machine desperately needed elsewhere. Hitler didn't listen. He wanted the best weapon. He got it, and it cost him the war. Part 3. The logistical nightmare. If production numbers were the Tiger's first problem, logistics were its slow death. The Tiger weighed 57 tons at a time when most European bridges were rated for 20. Moving a Tiger company to the front wasn't a question of driving there. It was an engineering operation. Bridges had to be assessed, reinforced, or bypassed entirely. Rivers required specialized ferrying equipment. Roads that held lighter vehicles turned to rutted disaster under Tiger tracks. The tank's Maybach HL 230 engine, producing 700 horsepower to move 57 tons, consumed fuel at a rate that made supply officers lose sleep. A Tiger's operational range on roads was roughly 195 kilometers. Cross-country, that dropped to around 110 kilometers. On the vast distances of the Eastern Front, where supply lines stretched hundreds of kilometers and Soviet partisans regularly destroyed fuel convoys, a Tiger could run dry well before reaching the battle. And then there were the mechanical breakdowns. The Tiger's overlapping road wheel system, an intricate design meant to distribute weight and improve ride quality, was ingenious in a workshop and catastrophic in the field. Mud, ice, and debris would pack into the wheel gaps and freeze overnight. Crews arriving at their tanks on winter mornings in Russia sometimes found the wheels had fused solid, requiring hours of labor, or blow torches before the tank could move at all. In summer, the same system trapped debris and wore components down at alarming rates. Transporting a broken Tiger required a specially built 18-ton half-track recovery vehicle. If one wasn't available, and often it wasn't, the crew was ordered to destroy their own tank rather than let it fall into enemy hands. Hundreds of Tigers were lost, not to enemy fire, but to abandonment, burned by their own crews, not because the enemy was better, because the fuel ran out, or the engine seized, or the nearest repair depot was 200 kilometers away. Part 4. The myth versus the math. Here is the uncomfortable truth that Tiger mythology has spent 80 years papering over. For all its battlefield dominance, the Tiger never appeared in enough numbers to change the strategic outcome of any campaign. At Kursk in 1943, the largest tank battle in history, Germany deployed 148 Tigers. The Soviet Union fielded over 5,000 tanks total. The Tigers performed brilliantly on a tactical level, achieving extraordinary kill ratios. The battle was still a catastrophic German defeat. The same pattern repeated itself in Normandy, in Italy, on the Eastern Front. Wherever Tigers appeared, they won their individual engagements. But there were never enough of them. They were never where they were most needed at the right time, and they consumed resources that could have produced far more tactically flexible, strategically sustainable weapons. The Panzer IV, simpler, lighter, easier to maintain, was arguably a better overall contribution to the German war effort. The Stu-G3 assault gun, even simpler and cheaper, destroyed more Allied armor than any other German vehicle of the war. But neither carried the psychological weight of the Tiger, and so the myth grew while the war was lost. Hitler's obsession with superweapons, the Tiger, the Panther, the King Tiger, the Maus, reflected a fundamental misunderstanding of industrial warfare. Wars of attrition are not won by the most impressive individual weapon. They are won by the side that can replace its losses faster than the enemy can inflict them. Germany could not do that. It never could. Part 5. The legacy. What the Tiger actually taught us. The Tiger's real legacy isn't the 138 tanks Wittmann destroyed. It's the lesson every modern military has had to learn, often painfully. Complexity is a liability at scale. The American military took this lesson to heart. The Sherman was underpowered, under-armored, and earned brutal nicknames from the crews who died in them. But it could be shipped across an ocean, repaired by a mechanic with basic tools, and replaced within weeks. That unglamorous reliability won the war more surely than any Tiger ever could. Today's military planners face the same tension. The F-35 is the Tiger of the modern era, a technological marvel that costs a fortune, requires specialized maintenance, and exists in numbers that would never survive a full-scale war of attrition. The drone swarm is the T-34, cheap, expendable, and terrifying in mass. History is rhyming loudly, and the engineers building tomorrow's weapons would do well to listen. Closing. The Tiger was everything its legend claims. Terrifying, dominant, brilliantly engineered. In another war, a shorter one, a smaller one, a war fought on a map instead of a continent, it might have been decisive. But the Second World War was not that war. It was a grinding, industrial, intercontinental struggle decided not by which side had the best tank, but by which side had more of everything. Germany built a masterpiece, then it ran out of fuel to drive it. And that is how the most feared tank in history helped lose the war it was built to win.